Here comes December 2025. Good news. Most planets are moving direct compared to 5 retrogrades in November. There's a feeling that things are finally moving forward. Bad news. We have a month filled with squares and oppositions. That's going to make it feel like we have to be making decisions and taking actions ASAP. And we're also going to be under the energy of an invisible Venus and an invisible Mars, which makes some of that decision making difficult. In fact, you want to move forward. I want to, the world does, and things can be challenging. I also want to mention that we had a moon back in November. It was a beautiful, intense kite with shock and awe, Uranus and whistleblowers. And I talked a lot about that in the video I did for November. But that November 19th moon is coming back to haunt us. And so we're going to see a little bit of a lunar hangover as we get Mercury right back in the very same spot, direct motion around December 9th, 10th, that he was during that very shock and awe lunation. I call that lunation about that, the shockwave moon, and we had shock waves. We had shock waves coming off of the likes of Candace Owens and that strange embrace with Charlie Kirk's widow and J.D. Vance, and those are all connected to that moon, as well as, by the way, Donald Trump mentioning that the CIA was A-OK to go into Venezuela, all on that lunation. But we're not going to cover the moon that happened. We're going to cover the future that's coming. When we get to your sign after the world astrology, we're going to talk about you. And I'm going to talk about how Mars moving into Capricorn, the sign of his exaltation, and Venus following him in there can lead the cosmic lovers into a kind of a sort of vibe in the month of December where you might find new love or new money stories emerging. And they're invisible stories, invisible and hidden from you or the world, but beginning to plan for something new in your love and money. Thank you, exalted Mars and Venus in Capricorn. She's a boss, babe. We're going to bring that through the all signs portion. We'll be drawing a card from this particular guidebook. Now, if you don't know it, I have my 2025 All Signs bundle, and you want to grab that. You want to get it 26. There's 12 videos. Each video is more than 2 hours long. Grab it in the description box below. This is, your last chance to get it at $44 if you catch this video before the 30th of November at midnight. Otherwise, no worries. It's $55 after that, and it's still a great deal. 12 videos. Listen for Sun, Moon, and Rising, share with friends and family, stocking stuffer galore. These videos are also in audio format only. You can download them directly to your device and keep them stored there, but you can also go to my hidden, unlisted YouTube links, and this is all available for you. So you can time your best life in 2026 with me, Lori Lothian of Lunatic Astrology. If you're new here, welcome. Hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Hopefully, this content is giving you value in life and it helps you make moves through your life that are a little bit more in flow with the nature of the sky instead of pushing against the wind. We're going to talk about the sky. And this is a pinned recording on top of my first recording because I made a mistake. I'm back from Mexico. I'm recording this a day before Sunday, and I'm still not quite back to normal yet. I'm a little bit, out of it. I had caught a flu on the airplane. So be kind with me. I can tell my voice isn't quite normal yet. I don't feel normal. But I do have a tan. And I'm dressed like this because it's a warm, sunny day in Vancouver. But I'm just telling you. Be patient. Thanks, guys. Let's get started. Let's bring our attention to the month of December. I hope I said December in the beginning of this video. I'm so out of it these days. All right, ciao. Let's get going. We're going to break down the month. First of all, as I said, the world astrology, then your sign. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian, and this is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. And we're going to talk a little bit about the minor asteroids when needed. These are the devil is in the detail. In fact, I want to go back and talk about one of the predictions that I thought I pretty well nailed it, but I got a little bit who was going to die wrong, and I'll tell you what that was about as well. I'm not going to spend a long time going back over my November predictions, but some of those things did come true. And I'll just lightly touch on that. If you want to get my 2026 All Signs bundle, it expires November 30th at midnight. That means you're going to get 12 videos, 2+ hours each. Some of them are 2.5. Those videos are timestamped for you as well. It gives you an outline of your sign, sun, moon, and rising for the entirety of 2026 and my navigational guidance for you. And I put my heart and soul into that. There's a PDF guidebook that goes with it, giving you the outline of the year ahead, my thoughts on it, but also dates. It's kind of like a handy little transit calendar in some ways, but it's not just that. It's also some thoughts I have about the year. And that information is available for the All Signs Bundle pre-sale price, because on December 1st, it's delivered to your inbox. If you get it later on in the month of December and you didn't get the pre-sale price, it's still available. It's $55 instead of $44. Why do you think you should get the All Signs? Is that bundle instead of your individual signs, which also will go on sale in early December, is because you can send it to your friends and family. You can send this PDF with the hot links and the Dropbox downloadable audio and video files to people you love as Christmas stocking stuffers or just friendly gifts. And you can listen for sun, moon, and rising. For some of you, will have maybe only 2 of those. But it's also good to have all 3. And if you want to buy the individual sign for $33, like just your sun sign, sure. But it's a deal. A big deal to get the discount instead. All right, so let's get stalking. Let's get talking about this story. First of all, did anyone else feel that in the month of November things were moving in slow-mo and like you were like it's almost like molasses, or you were in quicksand or something like that? You just couldn't get the traction you wanted, or that the traction you were getting felt sluggish and difficult? Well, I did, and that's because we had a lot of retrogradation. We had Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Mercury, and Jupiter all in retrograde during different parts of November. Good news is, in the month of December, we will have Mercury in direct motion again. Hallelujah. And we're also going to see Neptune around the 10th moving direct in the sky. And the only laggards are going to be Uranus and Jupiter. So it's going to have a different vibe. You're going to feel like a little bit more momentum. The second thing about it is that we're carrying over a hangover from some stuff that happened in November. So I can't address December without talking about the November hangover of basically the November 19th, 20th, shock and awe, Scorpio new moon, in which Mercury was opposite Uranus in Taurus, while we also formed a kite formation to Saturn and Jupiter. And this energy became and is incredibly active still in many ways in the month of December. So in the month of, in my video for the month of November, because we had a Taurus lunation early in the month, and I said that full moon in Taurus could lead to the death of somebody. And I wondered if it could be Biden. He has a Taurus moon. I was looking for Taurus people because Libitina and Memoria, 2 asteroids for death, were traveling with the moon and in the sky at tight points at that time. I think there was also the asteroid Grieve quite active. And it was enough death asteroids that I pretty well assumed a public figure would pass away. It turned out to be Dick Cheney, like a day before the Taurus moon or so. And that's right. Before a moon, like 2 to 3 days before, you can already have the action happening. And I'm like, okay, Dick Cheney, well, yeah, he got a rep, he did pass away. I think he was pretty old. And so there is that story. I also mentioned that we are going to have this huge, intense, kite-fueled Scorpio new moon, and that Scorpionic people like Biden or King Charles are implicated as fallout in their lives or connected to things that could occur that surprise the world. That's still playing out. Anytime you have a moon, new or full, it really doesn't give you all of its juice for up to 6 months, but you'll notice that it can take even up to a month after a lunation for all the details to show up, certainly 2 to 3 weeks after you get the lay of the land, but even up to a month. So, because Candace Owens has her Mercury at around 28 degrees of Scorpio, and the moon was right there, I anticipated correctly that she would have a shocking news story that she would deliver to the world close to her or just after that moon. And indeed she did, trending at over like 50 million views or something by now on Twitter or X is her declaration that the government of France has been trying to undo her life, unalive. And so that's pretty shocking. And that's been all over the news and is continuing to trend. Certainly it seems to be less covered by the mainstream media, which is not surprising. But there is that, right? There is that thing. So I would say that there's a strong possibility that we'll see a second wave of information about the situation with Candace that continually shocks us. And why would I say that? Well, because Mercury has 3 passes over her Mercury. Now she has, oh, sorry, her Mercury's on a Scorpio. I always do this. Her Mercury's in Taurus, but it's exactly opposite where the moon was on Elgol, the decapitation star. Her Mercury's on that star. And when here, she's got her in Taurus, she's got her sun and moon there. Now, Uranus is right on the decapitation star, Elgol, a very difficult star. When we say, when we talk about governments using a decapitation strategy, we're talking about an ASSINATION strategy. And that's exactly what she's talking about. She's under a hit order. And so her Mercury is announcing a decapitation risk and is coming off of the new moon in Scorpio, secrets and, difficult like spy stuff. Okay. So what I want to tell you is this. I'm going to keep it very, very simple. It basically looks like, because Mercury will go right back over that same spot around December 9th, 10th, 11th in direct motion, we're going to see a reconnection to that theme of what her announcement was about that happened in the time Mercury was retrograde there. Now, there's another story, and that's the story of Erika Kirk. So we're going to talk about her, and I'm going to show you her chart. I can see why Candace and Erika may not be besties. And I can also see potentially here where an Erika Kirk story is coming to light. And it has to do with Erika Kirk and the shocking embrace of J.D. Vance. And I'll tell you what it is, and I'll tell you why it is. So let's open up the Erika Kirk chart together, and let's talk about the story. Now, we don't have a time for Erika, which is fine. I don't think I'm sharing anything but my Zoom, so hang on. But we can still use the basic planetary positions without knowing her time and make some assumptions from that. By the way, Charlie and Erika's chart has a difficult moon opposite, Mars opposite moon, and that would be Erika's Mars opposite Charlie's moon in Libra. And I would say that there was occasionally she bossed him around and he felt emotionally uncomfortable, but I don't feel like doing the synastry between them. Okay. What I want to show you is Erika. They also have a pretty sexy, hot Mars opposite Venus energy as well. When the chart looks like that between a couple, it can indicate a penchant for like sizzling hot romance and really like, falling madly in, passionate sexual attraction with each other. But Erika is also born with a Mars-Venus opposition, and anybody born with that, okay, just want to say that I'm not slandering her. I'm just saying anybody in the world born with a Mars-Venus opposition has a capacity for infidelities. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm not saying she did or didn't or will or won't, but I'm saying that's a thing. All right, so she's got that wide opposition in her chart. Let's bring her up. Okay, I am in share mode and making sure I am. Yeah. So first things first, we don't have a time for her. I could cue it to Aries, but it doesn't really matter. I want you to be aware of what I'm about to share. We had a lunation. We had a moon. The moon was new. It was around the 19th of November, and it happened up here where her Mercury sits at 22 degrees of Scorpio and her sun. Now, it happens to be that Candace Owens has her Mercury and sun and Venus opposite that in this part of the chart. That would be her sun opposite Erika's sun, her Venus opposite her Pluto, her Mercury, and her Mercury opposite Erika's Mercury. If these two people were trying to be a relationship, even a friendship, it would be very combative, contentious, and difficult, especially for communication. Just letting you know. So I don't know that there's any love lost there between the two of them, that's for sure. And it's the whistle-blowing energy of Candace Owens' Mercury sitting at the end of Taurus that was activated right across this axis here when the lunation was here. Now, Erika is actually in the crosshairs from that November 19th moon. I want you to go back in time with me and I can show it to you if it helps, because I think some of you are learning astrology. So let's go. Recently used transits. I want you to watch what I'm about to show you. I'm going to take us back to October 27th. Why? Because on October 27th, you can see Mercury is moving direct over that Sun and Mercury that belongs to Erika. And what happened on October 27th or so, it was the 29th, that's close enough, is that she talked at Turning Point USA, the first public event she's done. I think it was in Missouri or Minnesota. And she got on stage and she's dabbing her eyes in the corner. I don't know about you guys, but when I cry, the tears come out the inside of my eyes, not the outside. And her boy, does her makeup hold up. So she's always dabbing, and people think that doesn't look realistic. But okay, take your pick. I'm not saying what's true or not true. I'm just saying it doesn't seem real to me. But you can see her Mercury. The transiting Mercury, as she was at Turning Point USA and doing her big speech, it just crossed over her Sun. And so this energy means that her big talking at Turning Point, being on a stage, the embrace with JD Vance and touching his head is connected to Mercury crossing by or near her Sun. So Mercury went through that part of the chart on the 27th, 28th into the 29th. Erika did the big shock and awe, trended all over Twitter. Is that appropriate or not? And then we move into October 19th and 20th, and Mercury crossed right back here again, retrograde over her Sun Mercury. Her Mercury's under the beams of the Sun in Scorpio with Pluto. I'll just spell it out. This is very three-letter agency type Mercury. Okay, this is very Mata Hari, if you ask me. I do not suspect that she's a handler, but this chart looks like she could be a handler. And when I look at the third pass of Mercury crossing over the Sun on December the 10th, that's the last bit of the Erika Kirk story. Whatever it is going to be on December the 10th, I could have gone by a month, for goodness sakes. 9th, 10th, right? Mercury's back here again. So there's something going on for both Candace Owens and for Erika Kirk, because it will be Candace's Mercury opposite that right over here. Okay. And Erika Kirk's own solar energy, which represents her career, which represents her purpose as a leader or whatever she would be in this life. And there's a lot going on. It could even be very directly related to what Candace Owens revealed, because Candace Owens revealed about 2 days before the November 19th, 20th new moon, she went on her show and she said that she had tracked Egyptian planes tracking Erika Kirk, that literally 68 times that Erika went somewhere, these Egyptian planes were also in airports where she went. And that there was a statistical, way out there chance that would happen. She got a statistics person to crunch the number 0.00000 point. And these are specific Egyptian planes that with tail numbers she's tracking. So that was an announcement that Candace made around the moon, just before the November moon, 2 days before November 19th, 20th. And then her big shockaroo about her being potentially in harm's way from a hit order. And that came just after the moon. But the Erika Kirk revelation, you see, with Mercury sitting in the 5th house, with Candace's Mercury over here on Elgul, shocking, surprising, decapitating energy, opposite the Mercury Sun and the Pluto uncovering secrets of Erika Kirk. There will be another revelation by Candace as well, probably close to the 9th and 10th, about Erika, taking cue from more information about the Egyptian planes following her. There's speculation in the conspiracy theory community that Erika was an asset of another country and was a handler for her husband. I'll just leave it at that. If that information became known or true or revealed or divulged, that would be shocking. And that's the kind of thing that's going on December 10th. We're looking for that shock and awe. King Charles' son is in the crosshairs. Joe Biden's son is in the crosshairs. So we can look for we would say in hindsight 2020 that October 27th, right, and November 19th, 20th, King Charles and Biden have things going on, whether we know about it or not. I didn't have time to look, that will come to the final grand finale announcement, shock or news. So we don't know. Maybe Joe Biden got a bad diagnosis October 27th. And maybe the next move was, we're going to try some strange treatment. And the next move is, hey, everybody doesn't look good. We're planning the exit strategy or the funeral. I don't know. Something like that. I'm just giving you, because the 3 points will have 3 touch points. for those sun people. Vladimir Putin, sun Scorpio Biden, sun Scorpio Biden, and King Charles, Scorpio sun, late Scorpio. But also Biden's moon was near that moon. He has a Taurus moon, and the death asteroids are very active. And it was his Taurus moon being eclipsed, and a couple other things that I said he would step down from running from office. In the year he did step down, I predicted that. So I would say that the Taurus full moon, when Biden has a full moon, and we had those asteroids last month in early November of Libitina and I think Grieve and Memoria, death asteroids. Remember the fact that any lunation doesn't always show you its full hand in the days and weeks after. It's a 6-month energy that says Joe Biden will likely not be here within 6 months. Okay. But it could happen sooner. All right. Moving on. He has some bone cancer from prostate cancer has spread. It's supposed to be aggressive cancer, I've heard. Now let's cut out of this story and just bring it back to me for a minute, because we're going to do your sign. I kind of don't feel like I have the energy. I'm recovering from a flu that I got from coming back to from Mexico in a jam-packed plane. So that's why my voice sounds weird, or like my throat, I'm not feeling great. So sometimes I give you a chart of every little thing that's going to happen and you can screenshot it. I didn't have the energy to make that chart this month. So thanks, but no thanks. I don't have time, energy, stamina. So enough to get my hair blow dried. But I will say that, I'm going to talk about some of the things going on this month right now. I'm just going to tell you about it, and then we're going to do your sign. There's a synodic cycle with Mars conjuncting Saturn that happens, every couple of years. And when Mars and Saturn co-join, they set in motion a 2-year story. And they did co-join together in April of 2024. And I'm not going to belabor this. I don't think I have the stamina, but it does connect that April 2024 conjunction. I'm looking for the exact dates. Yes, April the 10th, 2024. And then again, this opening square was August 16th of 24, and the opposition was August 9th of 24 between Mars and Saturn. And finally, December 9th is a closing square, Mars and Sag. December 9th, right? Mars and Sag. And did I say Mars and Sag is what I'm covering for you guys? I think I want to cover the next thing when Mars moves into Capricorn. Sorry about that. I don't think I have time to edit this. We'll be talking about Venus and Mars cohabitating Sag and how that's a sexy thing. I don't have time to edit because my brain is offline. And December 9th is the closing square. This pattern has connected to various stories, like threat of nuclear events, particularly like the Ukraine-Russia nuclear power plant, Mars square Saturn stories. But more importantly, in this particular cycle, it does connect to the problems with the nation of Iran that Israel keeps having, the United States keeps getting involved. Okay. And the Scorpio, the Gemini, December 4th, full moon, is taking place off an end of May new moon. And as we all know, in the month of June 2025, the United States decided to participate in the bombing of Iran. And therefore, it is my assertion that we will see the likelihood of a return to war against Iran involving the USA and or the nation of Israel. That seems to be obvious to me on many fronts, but that is just one of them that is a part of the cycle as well of Mars and Saturn in that square energy. But it's more importantly a part of the cycle to complete or fulfill what was started after the moon that occurred at the end of May 2025 and the weeks that followed. The United States ended up going into a war session with Iran. We'll see that come back again from December 4th Gemini moon, and likely see evidence of that within 1 month before the new year begins. Probably. Anything else I have notes on? I was taking notes yesterday and I have a bunch of papers in front of me. Charlie Kirk's eclipse. Let's talk about that too. I mean, the eclipse of September and Charlie Kirk's assassination. There was an eclipse on September the 7th, 3 days before he was assassinated. And also that eclipse was occurring in the sign of Pisces at 15 degrees of Pisces. And that eclipse then led to, well, many things happened, but one of them was the death of Charlie Kirk. And it's an interesting time because we're going to see the Gemini moon squaring the nodes of fate, squaring the south and north node. And I covered that in my Gemini moon video that's already out. But that will reactivate things connected to the death of Charlie Kirk. We'll see kind of a stimulation of those themes, stories, connection points to that, because we're touching like literally the nodes that created the fated event. And now the moon in Gemini is going to bleed through full moonlight to the nodes of fate, south and north, Virgo and Pisces, and remind us of what happened in September. So more Charlie Kirk stuff coming through our sky, story-wise. And I got a quick teaching opportunity here for you guys. Okay. I've seen this over and over and over again, right? Over and over and over again. An eclipse can show up 6 weeks even before the actual eclipse minimum, right? And you'll get the story ahead of time, because we also had a 29-degree Virgo eclipse as well in September at the end of the month. In fact, the date was, look at my calendar, the date of that eclipse was September 21st. So on September 21st, right here, there was an eclipse on the Virgo 29-degree point, and that is exactly where Charlie Kirk has his Venus, okay? And it's literally therefore that end of September eclipse is going to impact him greatly. And of course, it impacted him so greatly by the time we got to the September 21st eclipse, he wasn't even alive. But that is an eclipse ruled by who? Who rules Virgo? That's the sign of Virgo. Who, we don't know his birth time, so just look at the planet. It's ruled by Mercury. What's Mercury up to? Mercury, he's sitting with the god of death, Pluto. And Mars, homicide, killing, murder, mayhem, people who take people's lives. That's Mars. So you go, oh, how could an eclipse to his Venus, who has fallen in Virgo, isn't in good shape, by the way? How could that mean the end of life for this person? Also, Venus rules his sun, which is his vital force energy. The ruler of his vital force energy, the ruler of his sun, is eclipsed. Venus is also connected in the sky to this part of the story right in here. This is like a murderous trio here, Mars, Mercury, and Pluto. Okay. And I find it just fascinating that those guys are all bundled up together in Scorpio, because right now we're still playing off that Scorpio lunation of November the 19th. And that November the 19th Scorpio moon, okay, that energy of that is still impacting this. It really is. In some way, there's a sort of like, he's not here, but this part of his chart is alive and well. And this part of his chart squaring Saturn, is very difficult and could indicate, unaliving in this part of the sky. I wish I knew where this was. Like, in other words, if I knew what time he was born, and I could rectify his chart if I had the energy, let's say it was like that, right? This is his physical body. The first house Scorpio could be that. And he's a champion warrior for what he believes in Scorpio, I'll push for what I care about. That could be his story. But I doubt with his leaderful qualities, he has his sun and moon in the 12th house. So I doubt that's his rise. I doubt that's his story. I mean, he's a decent looking guy. He's a good debater. And Mercury is in the public eye, he's known for his debating, right? So let's put Mercury somewhere better. I'm just playing around, guys. Sorry about that. Just trying to figure out where he would put that. I put that. He's college campuses, champion warrior, speaking and talking. That could be likely a Pisces rising. Pisces is about faith, spiritual belief, right? Religion, even if you have to. And Jupiter with the sun, his career is connected. Did I move his date of birth? Sorry about that. I thought I was moving by hours. Let's go back to his date of birth. Oh my God. Seriously? Okay, hang on a sec. I just wanted to move his chart around the wheel. I thought I was moving by hours. Let's just check it out again. Be patient. Your sign's coming. To rectify a chart takes a lot of time. It means I'm looking through major life events, and it takes, at least an hour minimum to go through his life events and rectify the chart. However, just as a thought, He's a conservative. He has conservative values. He's resourceful. There's a Cap rising energy. And then we have maybe the fact that, he has 3 children or 2 children maybe. And that's the house of children, and Venus can witness it, although she's in detriment and wounded in the 9th house, but that's a possibility. And also we can see that this is his leadership energy in front of the public, and this is his large groups of people he influences. So he could be a Cap rising. That would work, actually. I could see that being true, and working hard and making money doing what he does. And so there's a possibility. And that means that when that eclipse occurs, right, at 15 degrees of Pisces, it's happening in the house of travel and, and also education, but it's also travel and local events and stuff like that. And that's exactly where he was in the target range, so to speak. And the Virgo eclipse is up here in the house of college campuses, higher educational settings. And that can literally look like that's what we're seeing here. So I could say he's probably maybe a Capricorn rising. And there was one more thing I was going to say. Using a technique from Gemini astrology, his first wife would be Mars, and his second wife, or like a wife, would be Mars. So he gets the first long-term committed love relationship and the second one both being Mars. And what does Mars do in his chart? You could take a class with me. I'm teaching finding the people in your chart. I'll teach you that technique. This is going to be true whether we have a birth time or not. The first long-term committed love relationship, this like a spousal relationship, committed, cohabitational, long-term, monogamous. Well, the first one is Mars and the second one is Mars. End of story. It's just what it is. And therefore, that's Mars. And what is Mars doing? Mars is in Scorpio with death planet Pluto. Yeah, so that's not the most important thing here probably to talk about, but if having your spouse being Mars in dignity is good, but with Pluto, let's keep thinking about that. Mars here, what does that really mean? All right, we're done with that. Mars is opposing the house of children, by the way, and I do clients' charts and I'm looking at their spouse and they're not sure they want to have kids, or the spouse is unsure. I'll look at the planet that represents the spouse and I'll say, does your partner even want to have kids? And often if this is what I'm seeing, that the partner of Charlie Kirk is Mars opposing the house of children, then the question becomes, did she have children because it was expected of her, because she was playing a particular role, of the good little wife with the religious core values? That's a thought. Not too sure. Maybe that's not what she really wanted. You see, Mars is opposing. Doesn't matter. It's going to be his wife. I don't think he's had 3 long-term committed loves, right? So it's definitely, she's Mars in the chart. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do your sign. I'm going to talk about Mars. Mars is going to be in Sag, and then he's going to be in Cap, and there's a bit of a love up with Venus. We're going to go through your sign with a kind of a vibe of how to handle that. Just know that the month is not easy. Venus will be in a square to Saturn later in the month. And we have we literally have a month full of squares and oppositions. After the first week of December, after about the 6th, 7th, things get difficult. End of story. Yes, planets are in direct motion and Neptune finally goes direct December 10th-ish, but it's all oppositions and squares after about the 6th, 7th of the month. And that's what I can say is that you can anticipate it to feel collectively and individually tense. And there's going to be a demand on decisions and making sure you make a decision and take an action. Squares do that for us. So let's go ahead and do Aries first and move through each sign. About the vibe of the month ahead. I don't know if I'm going to draw. Yeah, I will. It's going to be a difficult month. And this is a deck I was playing with this morning. The animal spirit deck accompanies the astrology. Let's get rolling, shall we? What animal will help you out through this turbocharged, somewhat difficult month ahead? We'll get rid of Charlie. No offense, Charlie. Oh, and Venezuela. Oh my God. We're definitely going to see some Venezuela action. I was on that November 18th, 19th, 20th lunation that Trump announced that he said it's okay for the CIA to go into Venezuela and do some stuff, if you know what I mean. Approve the CIA ops in Venezuela. You've got to be kidding me. And one of Venezuela's charts too, if I remember correctly, there is I got to remember that chart. I looked at it. Well, hang on. It's in my memory that there's a chart for Venezuela from like the 1800s, and I do believe there's going to be problems because the Mars that they have, I think, yes. Now I remember the Mars of Venezuela in an 1800s chart is in mid Pisces, and Mars will square it, or 25 Pisces or late Pisces. And Mars moving through our current sky from Sag squares the Mars, the war planet of Venezuela. So we're going to see, therefore, conflict as well. And, United States Sibley chart, that's Mars and Gemini, which is why you always have fighting neighbors and civil wars. And that's in the 7th house of open enemies for the Sibley chart. And as Mars is going through Sagittarius, he also squares the USA's own Mars. So there's a lot going on with that Venezuela thing, and also with the United States having, I think, like protests. I actually think the United States is going to see more people standing up in December and saying, not on my watch, or, not me too, or I don't agree with this. And, pushing back against policies of the government, and, or the feeling that maybe the government is run by a foreign country and the United States is a satellite nation. I think it's going to be pushed back majorly through shocking revelations let me just say this right. December is a hard month. We're going to have pushback through shocking revelations in which people in the United States, we the people, Pluto out of bounds, rise up, has been out of bounds, and push back against power structures that are lying to them. And it's going to look like, through those revelations, that people are fed up. And you're going to see a change of the ability of the government or the powers that be in the United States to actually get away with it. And I think in December, we begin to see some shifts where the people are holding the people they elected to account for the will of the people in ways that may surprise us. And that could have to do with protests as well. All right, so let's go back to your sign and go through it. I just stopped that in case my video guy wanted to grab that. We're going with Aries. I hope I'm not talking too long. I think I need to get a teleprompter and write a script. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. The thing about the month of December is I need to move into December. I don't even know why I'm in July. That would be nice. July. I'm in July. Oh my God. You just cannot make this stuff up today. It's one of those days. I still have no idea how I got to July. Oh God. You've got to be kidding. Coming up. I'm getting to December, yeah? December 2025. Lord have mercy. Okay, so we're starting with Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. The first thing I want to talk about, guys, is it is a difficult month after the December 7th timeframe. We're going to end up with that huge amount of square and tension in the sky. And also, I explained sort of the hangover from the Scorpio new moon. So we can tie together dates in all of our lives: October 27th, November 19th, and December 10th, as Mercury's 3 passes. All right, 3 passes through the sky over the same spot where he's opposite Uranus. And so here we have Aries, sun, moon, and rising, the idea that, the vibration that Mars is moving into Capricorn. But let's go back, because I wanted to talk about Mars and Sag as well. Until about the 16th of the month of December, you're going to have Mars moving in the sign of Sagittarius. And in fact, he gets into the sign of Capricorn on 1,000 Notes Sunday on December 15th. So the first half of the month, he's finishing up 6 weeks in the sign of in the sign of Sagittarius. And for you, it probably feels a little bit like you've gotten through a time in which you have been, I don't know, maybe quite adventurous, busy with like writing or podcasting or publishing or teaching or traveling internationally or abroad. These are things you could do, or fighting a legal battle. And then this has been true, by the way, all the way from when he first entered into Sagittarius. And I think I need to do a new intro for this video, because I think I completely went brain dead. But anyway, he got into the sign of Sagittarius on November the 4th. So most of November, he was here in the sign of Sagittarius, traveling along, and you probably were like high-spirited, hopeful, adventurous, maybe connecting to more spiritual traditions and actively pursuing your spiritual truth and trying to be aligned with purpose and meaning in your life. And during that time, also, you have Venus up there hanging out with him, and she's been hanging out in Sag now ever since December, ever since OMG. Ever since November the 7th. So Venus, ever since, I apologize, December the 1st. So we're going to say December the 1st to the 15th, Venus and Mars made this fun. You might have been even considering long distance love or enjoying travel abroad to socialize or with friends and pleasure derived from adventures in other countries. I went to Mexico during that time. But when Mars gets here on the 15th of December, and he'll be here for quite a long time, all the way till January 23rd, kicking ass in your work. All right. You're going to start pushing forward on agendas that you might have been delaying on. You weren't sure it was time to do it, but I'm going to give you a bit of advice. Mars is going to be invisible here until mid-March. So it's best for you as you push ahead career actions, agendas, and plans to do it with an eye to almost like you were like, an architect building your design, building the scaffold or the structure, the design for what it is you want to create in your career. Because even though you've got ambition and drive and action and decisions in the top of the sky, sometimes when Mars is up here and invisible, you know what you're doing. No one else sees it. So for me as an Aries sun and moon, I'm going to be creating a whole brand new course for next year. Can't wait to get it ready and launch it. And I'm excited by it, but I have to do the back modules and create the content and create the website for it. And so that would be me building all of that content up and making that platform or structure available when Mars is visible after March the 17th. Okay. So be careful there. It's going to take a while for you to get something ready. Now, sometimes Mars invisible, and this is unfortunately possible. You could be blindsided by a conflict at work or blindsided a little bit by something ending in your work. Someone like you could get fired, or there may be some dramatic difficulties like endings or cuttings in the work situation that you could not foresee. Now, that's probably not likely because he's exalted in Capricorn and he likes being in this sign and he's in good condition, but you can not ever say never with this guy. And if you're wanting to get rid of a job or career path, or there's something you need to exit in that space, you'll be able to do that. But because he's invisible, if you're not blindsided by it, you might do it quietly. You might not tell anybody. You're just like, okay, I'm just not going to tell anyone that this is what I'm doing in my top of my sky, leaving behind something, ending that part of my career or my purpose or my reputation. And Venus will follow him into the sign of Capricorn eventually. When does she get there? December 24th. So from December 20, and she also is invisible. From December 24th till the end of the month, both Mars and Venus are in your 10th house. So this is actually quite nice. It could show up as a kind of subtle glow up, a popular appeal or public reputation lift. But on the other hand, it could also be a secret office romance or a secret relationship building at the last week of December with somebody in your professional area. It doesn't have to be in the physical office either, just someone in the professional realm that you're in, and sort of a buzzing, bubbling secret romance might blossom for you guys anywhere from December 21st actually until January 17th, because we'll still have Mars there. And we'll also have Venus joining him as well. So there's kind of that sizzling romance in a professional setting. Would not surprise me at all. And so keep your eye on that. And that's a big picture of you for you. And we'll pick a card for how to deal with this month, because it's going to be a bit difficult because it's going to have a lot of squares, and squares are challenging. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. That does help the channel tremendously. Me and other astrology channels of great note, like the bigger behemoths, the big Titanics that like we're moving slow, we've noticed a drop in subs. And that's weird because my views are still 1 million a month. My subs are less. So I don't know what to make of that other than the AI slop maybe is taking people's attention away for subbing. This is called tarantula. And let's see how the tarantula energy supports you in this month ahead. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Oh my God. I cannot believe it that I'm even talking. The last 3 days I've been like, not doing well with the thing I caught either on the airplane or the night before I left Mexico. I had a great week in Mexico. Love Mexico people. I love the culture. I love the language. I love the food. All right. First went to Mexico. I was 16 years old. I went to Mexico City and Acapulco for a Spanish school trip, and I had the best time ever. That's where I fell in love with tequila. I was way too young for that. All right. All right, here we go. Tarantula. You're at a crossroads and you need to claim your life's purpose. OMG. The tarantula represents a moment when great decisions must be made, and it involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose. Now, don't forget, we have Mars and then later on Venus in the 10th house. And this is your reputation, is the sphere of, what people see you doing in the world, right? And Mars gets up in that part of your sky on the 15th, but the first half of the month, he's in the Dharma house, key to purpose. What are you here to do in this life? A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream, yet a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention. In order to find true happiness, you must choose Dharma until you do. And until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. Dharma, you're, the right, moving in alignment with your right purpose and direction in life, being available for the path of true purpose, in a way. This tarantula hovers patient and calm like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you will choose wisely, fellow Aries. When you're out of balance, you are hesitating and over-intellectualizing in the month of December. And in balance, you follow your intuition and bringing yourself back into balance. You must do your daily journaling. Well, I do write my dream journal, so there you go. I'm right on it. Let's keep going. And the next sign we're talking about is, you guys get to see my messy desktop every time. Yes, is Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, because for some reason this software doesn't work with my MacBook Pro. Okay. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign will get you back because I'm going by month for some reason. Cannot make this up. Never had this much trouble before, guys. I got like some flu-like illness on the plane, and I am not doing so great. I look fine, but I don't feel good. All right. So Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign, for goodness gracious sakes. Take December, shuffle it up, shake it up. Things are moving forward. Thank goodness gracious. After the 10th, only 2 leftover retrograde planets. However, it's a difficult month filled with squares after the 7th. And here's what we're going to focus on. We have Mars moving through the sign of Sagittarius. Yay, until middle of the month, until the 15th. He was also doing that movement through the sign of Sagittarius for almost all of the month of November. So you've been focused on your money here. This could be your shared resource with a partner, it could taxes, matters to do with inheritances, banks, finance, credit cards, debts, all of those sorts of monies, loans. You share the money with another, you invested in the markets, but you had a bit of a focus on money. You may be getting loans or business money deals together, whatever. So there's a drive to focus on the money, attention on the money, actions and decisions around that kind of money. Then Mars moves into Capricorn on the 15th or so of December, where he's going to be until the 3rd week of January. And therefore, you will be focused on new things. And you'll notice this energy will take you into paying attention, a lot of attention perhaps, to wanting to take adventures. I like Mars here. Often he's exalted, he's in good shape, and it wouldn't be a bad time for a trip to a foreign land or distant shore, to go off to another country. And so I'd say if you want to go off on an adventure like that, then anytime mid-December through to January 23rd would be okay. You could be engaged in court and legal matters with fierce determination. You might be fighting for what you want, going to bat for your lawyer, going to bat for you, getting the legal paperwork done on something. Even applying for visas can be like passionately endeavoring to work hard to get your visa application done. Mars up here can also put you in a position where you are going to experience a kind of drive towards educational matters, where you might want to focus more on something you need to learn or wish to learn, or you might be really engaging with a lot of determined passion in some kind of podcasting or publishing project, and just putting a lot of energy into it. Now, when Venus joins Mars in Capricorn, the last week of December, like the 24th, and that's going to be true through to about January 17th. She'll hang out with Mars in Capricorn. And that could be, if you're looking for a relationship and you're single, that could be a kind of romantic vibe that's picking up with a foreigner or from someone in a distant shore or land, or maybe a kind of romantic vibe picking up with somebody that you know through an educational setting, especially higher educational settings, or even the possibility of meeting someone because you're traveling, especially if you're traveling a long distance. If you're already with someone and Venus joins Mars, well, it could smooth out some financial issues or court and legal issues connected to, judges and legal determinations. Even just signing contracts legally, to do with, you need a judge, you need a lawyer, you need a notary public. They're invisible. Mars is invisible through till March 17th. So even though mid-December he moves into your 9th house, some of this action that you're taking up there might be quite behind the scenes, or actions that you're doing around education or travel, or maybe connections to a sibling too older than you, and some sort of almost off the radar of the world, backroom deals and quiet actions like, oh, you're applying to, Harvard, but you're not telling anyone, or it takes that long for the application process to be finalized. So, those things of an invisible Mars mean that the action is not seen by you or the world. It's hidden from view. So keep that in mind as well. I'm not too sure if you're going to court with Mars invisible here, that you're going to really enjoy that, because I'm not sure you're going to get a visible result until mid-March, but that might be exactly what you expect anyway, that you go through some kind of machinations with the legal system, and then it's going to take that long for the court to resolve it. So there's just don't expect visible results right away. I would doubt that. It is trining you. Mars is flowing to you. So it does support you in whatever this is about. Okay. And Mars in Capricorn exalted. I mean, no complaints there, right? I see some of you, since he rules your 12th house, definitely thinking about you're wanting to travel, go off to a distant shore and foreign land. And I think with Mars invisible, you might want to make it kind of like a spiritual retreat. Less so that you're going to go off and, Margaritaville it, that you're going to want to go find some place to be more spiritually isolated, alone, etc. Okay. Now, a card for you on this. Oh, you're going to be like a gazelle, like a gazelle. This is your best advice for the month of December. Gazelle it away. Don't forget, in my weekly videos and all of that, I cover what's going to happen each week in a lot more depth than I can do in a November overview video. So this is just a vibe of the Mars Capricorn Venus story, Gazelle. I don't even have the patience to record the beginning of the video all over and tell you what I meant to say, but I better do that. Gazelle. Gazelles are, because my brain is on, I don't know, between jet lag and some flu thing. I know I seem normal, but I'm not feeling it. Gazelle. There's no faster way to do it. I promise you. She does not order them in any kind of alphabetical order in this book, which it's a fire animal. And we're getting into the gazelle when I finally find it. Yeah, I know. Heightened awareness and ability and vulnerable. Okay, so you are going to experience this in the month of December. This represents supreme grace. With every move, awe-inspiring beauty and sophistication and elegance are emitting from you. Gazelle personalities are hyper-aware of their surroundings. They're hyper-vigilant even, and that can inhibit them from enjoying the beauty they've spent so much effort cultivating. So no more worrying about all those predators out there in the wild. When this card appears for you, Taurus, it's time to get back to the present moment. I told you, spiritual retreat, ashram, going inward, being alone. Sit down, find your breath, and acknowledge the bounty that surrounds you. Let it nourish your gentle spirit. In December, if you are in balance, you are graceful, perceptive, and you can be artistic. However, when you're out of balance, you have insomnia and a racing mind. Go to that meditation retreat. Maybe even food allergies. And to bring yourself into balance, you need yin yoga, a cozy home, and some good food. Okay, Taurus, I can relate 100% to that. Okay. I mean, I'm not you, but I everything I just said, I'll take it. I'll take it. And then we're talking about you guys at Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm a Gemini progressed Sun. I can slightly relate here. We're going to talk about the vibe. What happens when December the 15th, an invisible Mars, invisible till March, moves into your Capricorn 8th house of taxes, inheritances, investments in the markets, structures to do with money that are complex, inheritances, spousal support agreements, divorce settlements, and all of that. Now, it could just be that you're really attending to new tax structures in your life or something like that. But Mars is going to really dig in here and focus on the situation with a lot of attention. Sometimes you can clean it out like a closet full of junk. Toss out the junk there. Maybe you got too many non-income sources in disarray. Maybe your passive income sources need to be rearranged. That includes royalty income, ad income from, shared with Google, that kind of stuff. So you're going to make changes in that part of your sky, but because he's invisible till March, just be aware that you're likely not to actually. It's all kind of behind the scenes, undercover changes. Even if you're in a divorce disagreement settlement, or trying to figure out money to do with retirement, or you're trying to, this stuff is going to be kind of low key background noise until you get to March, right? Because you're not going to he's not in Capricorn till March, but he's not visible till March. And so he's invisible in December in your 8th house. So don't expect anything to be dramatically exteriorized. I'm apologizing for that. Sorry, but I'm waiting for an important call. Let me see if I got it. It's really important, so I cannot not be there. Okay, sorry. It's a crucial medical call-ish. Okay, so back to you guys. My apologies. What was that? Oh, yeah, I was in your chart. Oh my God. Yeah, this video is going to suck. You guys are going to hate me on this one. I'm off my game today. All right. One thing I want to say is that Venus will go into the 8th house, and that's invisible and secret and hidden relationships. Often it can be infidelities, but sometimes it's also just you don't want to tell the world about it. So Venus on the 24th of December through to January the 17th will accompany Mars in your 8th house. And there may be a relationship that is invisible to others that you are kind of low key secretly hiding from the world. And there's nothing about that that's necessarily bad. We always think of it as a bad thing, but Venus does exalt your 10th house of career and rules the house of romantic love. And it's a possible kind of professional vibe where someone in your career, office, profession, a livelihood space might be causing you to feel quite attracted. Mars rules your 6th house of work, So if you're single, an office romance, a secret romance, a professional romance, and is not being disclosed to the world, perhaps will be happening here. And so Mars and Venus will be collaborating on something December 24th, all the way through to about when Venus finally leaves on the 17th of January. So there is a story that I can make. Venus is a money goddess, and she connects the money dots to your career and work houses as well with Mars's support. So there's a lot going on with money that you're trying to rearrange your money and your way you make money and the way you invest money and the way you save money, perhaps through structures of certain kinds. And you're working on all of that as well, kind of low key, mid-December through to mid-January in essence. Now we'll draw a card for you guys on the old how do you handle the difficult squares that build up after the 7th of December. Don't forget the shock and awe of that Uranus Mercury opposition. I'll be doing a video on that as we get to that time. This is Dragonfly. I do love dragonflies. Okay, I've had one land on my finger and just stay there, not even move. That happened a few years ago, and it was a really intense period of my life, and it was so magical. So magical. Dragonflies. Okay. There's no fast way to get this book organized. Let's just go through it. Okay. If you are on your A game and you know how to handle the month of December with all of its difficulties and turbulence and shocks, You are a master of light, illusion, and the mind. A master of light, illusion, and the mind. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens a sense of wonder in all. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind as it is always moving, shifting, and shimmering and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. It is restless. Is it restless or is it still? Dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. If you're in balance, you are joyful, magical. And if you're and you see clearly, and if you're out of balance, you are unable to concentrate. Your mind is too busy in December. And to bring yourself into balance, you need to focus on the breath. Yes. All right, Cancer. It's a difficult month after the 7th of the month because we get a bunch of squares and oppositions ruling the sky. Good news is more planets are direct, so we have some forward momentum at last. Less indecision, more clarity. However, Cancer, you're going to notice that Mars enters your 7th house of long-term committed love about December 15th and stays there till about January 23rd. He's invisible, and there may be things going on in your primary long-term committed love relationship that are invisible. Now, when Mars is visible here, your partner might be angry at you or combative or aggressive. Sometimes it just means separation, like you guys are apart from each other. And so Mars here, mid-December through to January 23rd, might just be that you're spending time apart. But his invisibility in the sky gives me pause, and it makes me wonder a little bit about what he's really up to. But he could be invisible, therefore your partner is invisible to you. And maybe you're just preoccupied. But if you don't have a partner, you're probably not going to meet someone out of this thing. I wouldn't start a new relationship with an invisible partner in the house of partnership. You might break a contract, but you may not actually break it until after January 23rd. You may be planning to quit something, end it, contractual endpoints, leases, any kind of contractual agreements, and ending them legally. And you might also be getting ready to deal with some separation issues in a relationship. Maybe you guys are thinking of separating from each other, and there's just sort of like everyone in the world doesn't know that you guys are getting ready to make a difference by no longer being together. That could happen. Now, one thing about Mars traveling through your 7th house, exalted, he is in good shape, is your partner may go through a period of passion, action, determination, and new directions, but they may be, your partner, quietly invisible. We're going to be talking about the conjunction of the sun in January. That's a whole other video. But your partner might be doing things that you don't know, but they're good for that person. When Venus joins Mars in your 7th house, then you got a lot going on. And Mars, Venus together there could indicate that your partner is having some romantic stories going on and keeping them invisible from you. And I don't want to worry you about that, but that's definitely a thought I have, Venus invisible, Mars invisible. Venus will be there December 24th to the 17th of January. So you got 2 invisible planets hanging out in the house of marriage or romantic love or significant others. You could attract people to you, particularly strong and powerful and capable females or males who are good at financial resources. But if they're invisible, you might not be seeing exactly what's really true and who they really are. Be careful with that. Venus and Mars together in your 7th house just might be kind of a ticket to property, land, and real estate transactions, like signing documents connected to land, property, and real estate, but doing it undercover, not letting the world know about it yet. Is kind of secret, maybe. I don't like Mars here for secret love affairs because Mars rules your love house, and that could be your partner having a tryst. So not to worry you, but that could be a thing. Just want to say, hey, watch out, December 24th to January 17th, keep your eye on a significant other. You could also see some changes going on in the life of one of your children. And one of your children could be having a new relationship start up, but they've been keeping it sort of undercover, and maybe you won't even know about it until after January the 17th. All righty. All right, let's grab a card for you and see what else we get. And I'm just going to try to finish this video up because I'm going to be doing such a deep dive video and maybe a webinar on Mars's conjunction with the sun in January in Capricorn. And that is going to be an important 2-year reset in each of our lives. So that's going to kind of take some of these topics and bring it back. The fish. All right, how to deal with the month of December. You need to be the fish. What is a fish up to? Ha ha ha. Well, it's swimming, obviously, but what else does it do? I want you to consider that the best way to navigate the month of December is you might be having a change of focus. You might be lost in the current, or you might feel restless. So you like to move, be subsumed in life's current, exhilarating to roam, but usually this leads to tiredness, weariness, slippery relationships. I sort of suggested that. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, you are adaptable, you travel well, and if you're out of balance, you are distracted and you change your mind often in December. And to bring yourself into balance, set a small goal and accomplish it. Okay, I can't turn off the ringer. I'm waiting for that important phone call. And yet I'm getting a dozen messages. All right, good luck with that, Cancer. Let me know how the month goes in the comments below, and I'll love to hear from you later on. I'll figure this out. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have a month in which Mars is going to travel in December on the 15th and goes into, he's invisible under the sun's beams, into your 6th house, and he'll be here till January 23rd. You're behind the scenes working really hard on something. Health protocols, new exercise routines, situations regarding pets or rental properties, situations regarding debt elimination and organizing debts, like your finances and restructuring, especially with Saturn in your 8th house. And maybe you're thinking of making some changes in your work. You could actually change your job. You could quit your job. You could get fired from your job, but you might just be working really hard. He's in his joy here. He's exalted. And this is where he's going to apply himself quietly and invisibly under cover. And you might be feeling like whatever you're doing in the work environment is hidden from the world, but you're making a lot of passionate, determined strides in the workspace. It's a house of employees, and you might want to quit a job, or an employee might leave the job, and the invisibility is you're blindsided that one of your employees is leaving. That's a possibility. Mars does rule the 4th house of home, and this is a house of rental agreements. And you may decide to rent a property out, or rent a property out to one of your children, even something like that, because Mars has been moving through your house of children before this. And Venus will then open up into the same place December 24th, meeting Mars in the same sign. And so December 24th through to about January 17th, both an invisible Venus and Mars are moving through your 6th house together. There's a possibility that you're making some significant career changes, but you're not letting the world know. Venus rules your reputation and career space. Mars is taking actions and making decisions. And yet, because they're both invisible, you won't really know the full lay of the land, maybe even until March. But you're making things happen already in December, mid-December through to mid-January. And some of you might want to change your neighborhood, or you might be looking at some significant work changes connected to a new location for work. Like if you work in a brick and mortar place, like a building, you might be moving to another location under this kind of sky. You may travel with a sibling, okay? And there may be an opportunity for long distance foreign travel being planned low key with a sibling during this window of December 15th to January 17th. I don't know if you're taking the trip with a sibling or planning the trip with a sibling, but there's those possibilities as well. Let's take a look at the Animal Spirit Guidebook for you and see what we get. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What is your best strategy? You need to be a phoenix rising from the ashes. Oh, goodness gracious. Leo, what's been going on in your life? This is not a real animal. It's a mythical bird. And it's about when we have to rise up from situations that have been incinerating us. Let's take a look at the vibe on this baby. Vibe away. Na, 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 na. All right. Freedom from suffering and past karma. Well, I'll take it. Reincarnation. So, transformation of the past doesn't mean running from it, denying it, or burning bridges. The Phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as a burning of impurities through the practice and dedication, tapas, through practice and dedication. Tapas. Tapas must be, I don't know. Guess what? The sixth house is health. So Mars and Venus may get you really involved in some kind of new health routine or health measures or health purifications. Okay. Especially with Venus ruling your house of the local neighborhood. Maybe you're going to join a new club, take up a new exercise class or something like that. Purify. Okay. So you want to take a stand and live consciously. You want to burn through your baggage. You don't want to run from who you are. You want to get out of stuckness and dead weight feelings in your life. You want lightness and clarity to emerge. And this Venus can lift up your spirits in December and begin to recognize yourself again, who you really are. And we may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before. So look closely. It's a sign of the fire of transformation is under your wings in the month of December. Leo, you are a fire sign. This is the first chakra, the root chakra, according to Kim Krantz and the Animal Spirit Oracle deck. I can do this better, guys. Hey, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. First things first, we're going to talk about the idea that you are going to see Mars mid-December all the way through until third week of January, going invisible, though, in your fifth house. Now, if you're looking for a relationship romantically, Mars here can bring a very passionate, very sexual energy to the fifth house. And you might find that you get into a very passionate relationship, but Mars is invisible. I don't know if that means you keep that relationship quiet from the world. Your children, if you have children, may become invisible to you, or they may be making changes in their life and taking decisions and actions that you can't see because Mars is invisible. He's exalted, though. And so an exalted but invisible story is trying to happen in the fifth house of romance and children. Now, Mars does rule abortion. Sorry. Yes. And so possibly there's a secret end of pregnancy termination secret. Is it you? Maybe. Is it one of your children? Maybe. Okay. Got to keep it in mind that life happens. Real life happens. And Venus is going to join Mars here, and she's a fertility goddess herself. So after December the 15th through to January 17th, Venus and Mars are together there. And that could look like fertility and questions and answers about whether or not to keep a pregnancy or not for someone in your life, one of your children or you and your partner, something along those lines. However, when the cosmic lovers join together in the romance house, we have secret romance. So it would likely be you engaging in a secret romance under this trine. So you might think, oh, December 24th to January 17th, romance is secret. Or there might be a chance to travel, to get away from it all on a leisure trip, a pleasure trip. And in this case, it would be far off lands and distant shores with a romantic partner. Venus exalts your marriage house and rules your foreign lands house. And I would say that possibly a positive way is a quiet getaway retreat to a distant shore with your significant other. And if you're going to do that and you're going to have the best results, then it's definitely something you would encounter as a positive from December 24th all the way through until January 17th. So you can book that trip and expect to have some fun. If you're an entrepreneur or creative, you might be working really hard on artistic and creative projects that could make you money, and you're doing them behind the scenes and no one can see you doing them. And that also applies to projects that involve writing, marketing, selling, teaching, and learning. But you might be working those projects as well because Venus and Mars rule your second and third house. And you're just like not going to roll it out until the planets become visible. And for March, that's mid-March, okay? But you can begin working on them mid-December through to the end of December 24th to January 17th, when we get Venus there as well. This is just a light touch, guys. This video is a light touch. I'll have to re-record my intro, though. And I'm just going to staple an intro to the front end. Dolphin, it's fun. It's play. Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't know what dolphin is, but it always makes me think of playful spirit, right? Time to have a little more fun. Let's take a look at dolphin in December. Don't forget, December is difficult. Can't pretend otherwise. It's got too many squares to be easy, too many oppositions to be easy. After the 7th, things get more grindy. All right, Dolphin, let's find you. Swan, Shark. In the month of December, you are innately intelligent. You're a healer and you have light blessings. Dolphin is beyond what you can grasp. You can be drawn to the healing arts, sensitive to the subtle, enjoy working on the level of spirit. You might underestimate your impact in the world in December. You can play an important role in the wheel of karma. This coming in contact with a dolphin type will change the entire course of your day. Well, you are like a dolphin. You are changing people's lives in the month of, potentially, in the month of December. And it can say that a profound blessing is on the way, a profound blessing. As I said, there's a fertility signature here too. And if you want to have a baby, this is positive, or your kids are going to have a baby and you might think it's a blessing. When in balance, you are an active healer, strong spiritual practice. And out of balance in December, you underestimate your own power. And to bring yourself into balance, you will need to be with like-minded spirits. Find the like-minded friends and fam and hang out. Oh, okay. I know there's a way for me to do this. I'm going to figure it out so that you're not seeing my messy desktop to start out. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a December in which we see Mars invisible moving into Capricorn on the middle of the month. It is a bit of a difficult month, right? I'm talking about that at the intro. A lot of squares are going on. Having Mars moving through your 4th house. This is the house of your home, property, land, real estate, domestic, private life. Mars is exalted. Sometimes Mars here can bring conflict in the home, domestic strife, difficulties with people with whom you live. Could be very simmering, passive aggressive, given that he's invisible. But also you might be wanting to travel quite a ways, a distance from your own home. It's going to be the expat signature here, maybe long distance travel, time away from home, conflict in the home, fights about the home. Mars invisible here is the kind of thing where you could also do some kind of construction or renovation work in the home. But because he's invisible, not too sure about it. Like, is that, you're not telling the neighbors that you're doing some kind of renos and it's against the strata rules or something. Invisible construction projects in the home. When Mars is down here, quite often he squares your 7th house, could bring some stress in your significant long-term love relationship as he's squaring your 7th house. Yet the stress is kind of invisible. Maybe the world isn't seeing it, or you are keeping long-term love relationship stress kind of under wraps. That would include business partnerships as well. And Venus will join Mars here, and she'll also be invisible. He's invisible till mid-March, and she'll join him December 24th and be with him till January 17th. And she's also not visible. So now we have invisible cosmic lovers in the 4th house. So here's a thought. If you're single, looking for a relationship, it could even mean that this person that you could get involved with is literally like close to home, like underfoot in the neighborhood, right around the corner, but invisible. Why invisible? Because they're crushing on you and they're not telling you? Because you think it's just a friendly neighborhood situation? I don't know. That's a possibility. On the other hand, if you're in a relationship and the cosmic lovers are together in the 4th house, there might be some real renewal of the romance and the fun and the sex and the pleasure in the home starting December 24th through to January 17th. And it's just maybe just already invisible. It's the midnight hour, so invisible secret fun, home alone with your partner, or more romantic sizzle in the home. Mars does rule your money house, making some money, earning money, etc. And Venus is your ruler. So you might be making more money from home in invisible ways, like a project that you don't tell anyone else about, separate from your work, a side hustle, and making money because you're determined, you're exalted, you're taking the actions you need, but it's hidden from the world. And you're busy to figure out a new way to make money. And that would work, especially chunky money too. Chunky money meaning like royalty income or ad income. You have Venus in the 4th house ruling the house of inheritances. Mars is cut, end, and sever. Oh, with Saturn sick in the house of sickness, an elder, this may just be about an elder passing in your family of origin. And the energy that Venus and Mars are contributing is kind of a sense that you're going to receive legacy wealth, but no one's you don't know for sure how much, or no one's talking about it. So you might be wondering if you're going to receive an inheritance, and if that's something that could happen for you. And you won't know the answer to that more likely until at least March the 17th, when Mars is visible, given its beginning under Mars's invisible travel through the legacy wealth house. Let's go ahead and grab a card for you and see what the best way to handle this difficult month is. Difficult because we have so many squares, okay? Just like, don't stress. Squares in opposition grow us into beings that take action, but you are like an eagle in the sky, which is wonderful because eagles have the big picture view, the big picture view. I believe eagle is probably going to be the last card because she prioritizes what she thinks are the high level creatures. This is all pervading power. You have all pervading power, Libra. You're a truth seeker and you transform karma in the month of December. The noble eagle emanates the light of the sun. This great bird is both physically and spiritually strong and represents mastery over the elements of fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons. Hold on for the ride. You are stronger than you think, eagle child. When you're in balance, you are bright, radiant, and challenges. You're bright, radiant, challenges. When you're out of balance in December, you are controlling. And to bring yourself into balance, you need to step into the unknown. I leave that for you. I think I figured out a better way to do it. Sort of half-assed. Still not all better, but better than it was. All right. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Mars is the ruler of your sign, as it is for Aries, and he's going into his exaltation in your third house. This is great, but he is under the sun's beams and invisible. He'll be here until January 23rd, and as he goes through your third house, you're going to be making actions and decisions that are quite low-key and maybe not executed, more like plans and actions, because your third house is also the house of the local neighborhood in which you live. You could have some conflicts with neighbors that are quite passive aggressive, but on the other hand, you could be planning a relocation under the sky, and that would be fine, except that you're not going to actually probably move, and you'll be here from December 15th to January the 23rd. It's more like packing or getting ready or making the plans in order to execute a relocation, change of neighborhood. He's only here once every 2 years, so it's not an everyday thing. Sorry about the sirens. Nothing I can do about living close to a hospital and a fire station if you hear them. I kind of want you to think also about, working really hard on things that are marketing, selling, writing, teaching, communicating projects. And if you're busy doing that, that's fine. You're doing it like low key, invisibly, like it's the thing you're doing before the world sees the results of it. You might be strategizing there. A sibling one younger, Mars, could be going through a difficult time, possibly, but Mars is invisible, so I'm not sure that's totally true. Mars is the ruler or the owner of the part of the chart that is you, and you might be working out more, but you might be kind of keeping it low key. I'm going to go to the workout in the gym, but I'm not going to announce it. I mean, it's invisible workouts, in the third house of the local neighborhood establishments, perhaps. And Mars also rules your house of work. And this is definitely something that could take you into some plans and plots to change your work, to find a new direction, but you might not be actually able to execute the new direction right away. When Venus, cosmic lovers will be together, when Venus enters into your third house and joins Mars on December 24th through to January the 17th. Double check that. Yes. You could find yourself traveling for romantic or pleasurable and fun activities with somebody significant and like a long-term marriage partner, and travel with that person. And maybe it's going to be kind of like, for solitude or aloneness as well. Capricorn represents a solitude, like a retreat for the two of you. It could also be travel local or long distance. It could be both of them in this chart. And I kind of feel like if you travel long distance, you've been there before, as Jupiter retrograde in the ninth house. Like if you go off to another country, you're going to travel to some place you've both been to before. Mars down here, watch for difficulties, including arguments with your family that's extended, cousins, nieces, and nephews. That kind of thing, just more tension in that area of your life. When the cosmic lovers are here and you're single, then you could meet somebody on a dating app. You can meet somebody in a bar, restaurant, local neighborhood, and you can meet somebody because you're traveling. And all said and done, because they're invisible and they're together, you're probably invisible. You're probably not telling anyone that there's a new relationship picking up. You'd like to keep it low key. That would be one way it would look for you. But Venus does exalt the true love house, and any new relationship that starts up for you and the cosmic lovers are in your third house will be exalted and will have a long-term lasting connection to you. So it won't just be a fling. So if you want to hit the dating circuit December 24th all the way through to January 17th, and someone asked you out on a date, I would say yes and see what happens. Although it may have a slow burn and not become really visible even as far out as until March, right? When Mars will become a visible planet in your house of true love. And you announce to the world that you guys are having a thing. All right, let's go ahead and get a card for you. Oh, no, we'll leave it at that. Well, you could get pregnant on a trip, or your partner could get pregnant on a trip as well. December 24th to January wherever I was at. You or one of your children could get pregnant December the 24th through until December the 17th. All right. There's a lizard. It looked like a chameleon to me. All right. Let's take a look at that lizard. This is your best way to navigate through and get some sense of how to deal with a very square oppositional energy playing through our sky during the whole month after the 7th. When I in the intro, described the second half of the month being more challenging. Well, after the first week of December, things get more challenging. I think I might just take a timeout corner myself. Let's just go to the timeout corner, please. Oh, come on. She's got to figure out a table of contents on the new edition, right? It takes me longer to find the cards than anything. Instinctual, you are instinctual. You are sensitive to the subtle. You are a dreamer in the month of December. The lizard is an expert in the realm of sensory perception, Scorpio, like a sixth sense. It hears what is yet to be spoken and sees what is yet to manifest. Although this is an amazing gift, it can easily wear the lizard down. Big crowds, lots of travel, overstimulation will drain a lizard of their magical essence. This card is an indication to pull back from the bright lights in the big city and return to the inner artist who's been whispering your name. When you're imbalanced, you are artistic, spiritual, and telepathic in the month of December. And out of balance, you are non-committal, elusive, and flaky. And you need a creative project to bring yourself into balance. Now, Scorpio, you are creative. You're a water sign. And you've got Saturn and Neptune in the house of the arts and the creativity. You could make a legacy project happen. Like you could create something that goes the distance that you're known for. So if you want to get your creativity up and running, I'd suggest it. This is no sooner than December. And Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Okay, Sag, you happen to be dealing with Mars. He's moving into your part of your sky that we would call, and he's invisible, money, earnings, resources, right? Dietary habits and styles, your nose, your mouth, your teeth, your face. Second house, often dental surgery, facial reconstruction, whatever you're doing, don't. Mars is invisible. He represents a surgeon. I don't care what they say, delay. If you don't have to, I wouldn't have dental surgery here. So Mars will be in your second house, invisible surgeon, invisible results. That he'll be here all the way from December the 15th to January 23rd and invisible. Now he's not visible till mid-March, but at least he's out of the house of your nose and face. So don't get the nose job, don't get the dental work done. I doubt you're going to have a good result when Mars is invisible. I could be wrong. Just means maybe you had a bunch of plastic surgery and you're hiding in your house till you look okay. Okay, that could be that too, but I'd just be more cautious. When Mars is invisible, as he represents the surgeon, I'd be careful. Mars invisible in your second house, invisible earnings. Now, doesn't mean there's no earnings because he's like very self-starter, independent here. Totally the guy to start his own side hustle, for example. However, and rules your house of entrepreneurship, right? Your fifth house. You could be working behind the scenes on some entrepreneurial endeavors. You're not telling the world about it. You're not ready to announce. You're going to get some sort of plans and plots about how to make more money in a more creative or entrepreneurial, a self-starter way. And I think you could just be plotting that world domination by taking the steps you need, especially steps to do with how you resource your money, maybe investing the money, setting up the payment systems or whatever you're creating. Now, Mars here is invisible and it is a money house and he sometimes spends. So be careful with overspending. Mars is also the planetary ruler of your house of expenses, your 12th house. So invisible expenses or expenses that you didn't expect because you didn't see them may show up in the life of a Sagittarius. Yeah, mid-December till January 23rd. Good news is Venus tries to soothe the waters as a money goddess, and she does arrive there on the 24th of December. Therefore, some of those expenses might be most difficult, the 15th to the 24th of December. But then they hang out together from December 24th to January 17th. Now, a money goddess and an action and planning and directional change god in the same sign is going to be maybe like you're planning a new job direction. Venus rules your house of work. You might be making some changes and some plans about where you want to live because Mars rules your home. She exalts your home. Yeah, she rules your career gains as well. So a lot of this becomes it kind of a quiet, low-key December 24th to January 17th strategic planning session between Mars and the goddess of your career gains and your work house. And, you might be making some significant decisions regarding how you wish to create financial resources in your life. However, because she exalts the fourth house and this is a spending house and there's more expenses, you could have some unexpected expenses connected to land, property, home, and real estate. Okay, that's one way that could be playing out as well. On a positive note, when Venus enters the house of your nose, your teeth, you have beauty there, right? Beautiful teeth, beautiful nose, beautiful face. But you have to be careful because the invisible surgeon is there. So I'm a little wary there. You could also change your diet. Mars is a dietary cutter there, eliminating and cutting back on things that are not good for you, especially addictions and self-undoing, okay? And Venus is there to find something that's easy and pleasurable to ingest, smoke, or drink that doesn't cause harm. Mars is doing harm elimination on the dietary and ingestion through nose and mouth front. And Venus might just be trying to make something beautiful. Honestly, the nature of the 12th house is rehab-ish. Some of you might be invisibly quitting some addictions. No one knows about it. You could be in rehab, or you could be on the 24th of December to January 17th, or just on the sly, like not letting people know you've gone sober or something like that and keeping it just to your very own self. Sometimes when we tell people what we're up to, then we're accountable to them. But then we also think, oh my God, if I fail, right, then that's not fun either. Who wants to make a mistake like that? I got two cards for you. I don't have time to read both. So they just both popped out. Sorry. I'm not even going to tell you what they were. I'm just going to see which one it's a swan. I was attracted to the swan. The swan. Whoa. Okay. All right. Effortless creativity, sensitive, mystic, and elegant power. That's you on your A game in the month of December. The swan represents heightened creativity. The goddess Saraswati, the embodiment of language, creativity, and artistry, rides on the back of this graceful creature. The swan is ready to take us there. fluid realm of writing, creating, reflecting. This potent and healing energy is not to be taken for granted. Okay. Your soul is calling for solo time. An inner voice is waiting to be heard. An inner vision is likely to be revealed. I said ashrams and I said rehab, solo time. When you're in balance, you have infinite creative power. And when you're out of balance in December, you are snippy, agitated, and lacking in vision. And to find balance in December, you need solo time and writing. I would include just the word journaling, right? You have to write like a best-selling novel. You just have to be like jotting down things. Sorry about that, guys. I know my ringer is stinging, but I'm waiting for an important call. All right, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. First things first. Oh, I just did you. I'm sorry. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. It looks to me like you've got a story going on here where we've got to deal with an invisible Mars in your sign. Not only that, he's joining the sun in December. That's a very important reset button in your life. We're going to cover that in a video coming up near the end of the month of December because it's too important to ignore. It's game changing. But that's a teaser. So like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Mars is going to be actually moving invisibly through your first house. You can't see him. Nobody can. He'll be there December the 15th to January 23rd. And because you can't see him, and he's in the sign that belongs to your sun, your career, your moon, your home life, or your rising, anything about the character you have to play in the simulation, you just might find there's some invisible things going on in your life. Capricorn moon might be your emotions, how you feel. Things are invisible from the world. You're hiding them, or there's invisible secrets going on in the home. Changes are happening, but you're not telling anyone. Invisible conflict in your home. Capricorn sun, some invisible machinations about career. But Capricorn rising, you could have a sense of, you're getting ready to make decisions, take actions, execute plans, change direction, decide things that are important to you, very important to you. But you are doing it in the realm of the invisible, right? Mars isn't ready to announce or take bold, clear action. Because he's the decider, the chooser in life, that's what he does on top of other things like willpower. You probably are in a place where your decision-making process could be invisible to yourself. You just don't know what to do. You can't decide. And that's a possibility. And you might not be able to execute firm life decisions actually until he becomes visible. Mars is your exaltation lord. In middle of March, and he would like to make decisions about home, property, land, and real estate, and where you live and whom you live with. And these are things that he just can't get a handle on, most likely till mid-March. You might find this frustrating because Capricorns, if anything, you know how to sort of be resourceful and practical and realistic about life. And yet your decision maker is quite invisible. Now, Mars can bring challenges to the body for the rising sign, Capricorn in particular, and he's invisible. So invisible causes of inflammation in the body or problems with your knees or whatever, your joints maybe, and invisible problems. No, you can't figure out what's wrong. Nobody can. The cause might be hard to discover. Mars here is also going to, because he is the ruler of your 11th house, be also trying to figure out what to do around prosperity and profits connected to work and career. And as Venus joins Mars here on December the 24th through to January 17th, and they're both together in your first house, there's a possibility that you're now looking at some secret plans or backroom thoughts or considerations, and maybe even an opportunity, a career opportunity from an ally or a benefactor. And you're weighing your options. You may not be able to take direct action or make it real until March, but you might be coming into an opportunity for some successful career gains, and perhaps in this case, a new job, a whole new career. Venus is also going to be with Mars and rules your house of romantic love. And with Jupiter in your 7th house, I mean, a really new, powerful relationship can be coming in if you're single. And this energy is interesting because Mars and Venus, the cosmic lovers together, December 24th to January 17th is like you're trying to make a decision about love. And with Uranus there, near the end of this, it's going to be a shockaroo. Something like the end of, somewhere around mid-January to January 23rd. All right. January 15th to the 23rd, you might be seeing some kind of really outside the box, shocking discoveries, decisions, or changes or happenings when it comes to long-term committed love. No, when it comes to romantic love, dating love, sexual and romantic love. Okay. Now this is kind of funny, but you go on a first date and find out the person is transgender and you're like, what? But you've been like emailing back and forth for like months, like it's kind of like that. There could be an unexpected surprise. That what you don't know and what you will see if you're single and dating or something's going on, maybe mid-January to January 23rd, will surprise you and then help you make a clear decision one way or the other, which way to go on relationship stuff. You could also be surprised that one of your children is going to have a baby. That's another shockaroo that could come through the sky sometime between December 24th and January the 23rd, no, 17th. And that could also be your partner's pregnant and you didn't even expect it. Fertility is there, right? Jupiter in the 7th house. So there's that as well. You make decisions around whether or not to keep a baby if you and your partner are considering, we have a pregnancy here. What are we going to do? Right? That could be a thought. Let's go ahead and draw a card for you and stop the share and try to get that chart back. Oh, no, I don't have to do that. What am I doing? I'm just me. Animal spirit cards, Kim Crans. I need water. It's a rare sunny day in Vancouver. I cannot wait to finish recording and maybe see if I can get a little bit of sunlight on my body. It's sunny and cloudy, but it's a bit of sun. We're like a sleepless in Seattle, right? The rain just keeps on coming because it is a rainforest. Oh, you're a lion. Rawr. Okay, it's a fire sign. Isn't that funny? Lion. It's a fire animal. I think she's going to put the lion at the end of this because it's a high-powered critter. All right, here's how you're going to deal with your December, because it's after the December 7th timeframe, we get a bunch of squares and oppositions. It seems difficult. You want to be patient in December. You want to be regal in December, and you want to be a complete master in December. The lion is a master of the fire element and the mascot of self-transformation, mascot. A lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. I'm stimming. Yes, I'm stimming. The dedication inspires some and intimidates others. Therefore, the lion is respected by all, but known intimately by very few. Some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof, yet those with a keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealth, and precise in their word and action. That's how you're going to operate in December. They do not waste energy or resources. This card reminds you that self-mastery is available, no matter what your quest begins. Now, here are your keywords. In balance, you will be the epitome of peace and strength in December. Okay, I am strong and peaceful. In your out of balance, you are going to be too serious and you're going to withdraw. And to bring yourself into balance, you need to meditate daily and lean into friendship. Okay, count on your friends. 2 more signs to go. And here we are. If you like this kind of content, the astrology blended with the some tarot cards, let me know. Some of you don't like it. I'm doing both. So you get both, serviced to both. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am one of you. I'm a rising sign in Aquarius land. Here we have Pluto. Oh, we feel so powerful, don't we? We're dying and being born daily. Born again. I would say we have an invisible Mars starting in mid-December, moving through our 12th house. This is very subtle. This can be very much about karmic knot cutting and eliminating karmic patterns. This is ideal for quitting an addiction. If you want to get down with a sobriety program or an anti-addiction program, certainly Mars is on board for that mid-December through until the third week of January. Now it's invisible, so you probably don't tell the world. Or you're like, I'm not telling everybody, but I'm going off to the retreat for sobriety or something, or I'm going to like cut away all my addictions, but I'm going to keep it low key. So you're doing it kind of behind the scenes. Mars cutting away here. He also likes to travel distant shores and lands. You might consider that, yeah, I want to get away from it all mid-December through to January 23rd. Any travel you take, though, it's invisible. Well, I don't know how you can travel invisibly, but you might not tell people where you're going, right? It's a detox club. Mars here is definitely really good for deep soul work, especially when he's going to, near the end of it all, hook up with Uranus, closer to January 20th to 23rd. And you might just say, oh my God, what a breakthrough. Like I just finally figured out why I am my own worst enemy and how I undo myself and all those stupid karmic debts and all those karmic vows I took. And I'm going to figure it out and change it all. I'm going to cut through the dross. Mars invisible is like also in a place where we do things alone. So you could be working a lot with passion and exalted passion on a project behind the scenes. I'll be creating my new course in December that I'm teaching next year, 2 new courses. And I love creating courses. I love making the content, so doing the videos, setting up the platform. I love the creativity of creating the courses. And so I'll just be working hard behind the scenes and visibly doing that. So it's sometimes very benign as well. Venus will join Mars here. Now she's an interesting catch. She's like with Mars, cosmic lovers together. December the 24th to January 23rd means a secret love relationship behind the scenes, right? Off center of reality. You might be having a quiet love story emerging. It can happen because you're traveling to a distant shore or land, or just it's very much under wraps behind the scenes. People aren't hearing about it. Mars rules your career house. So if there's a new romance bubbling, it could be connected to the house of your career. And so maybe some professional romance is blossoming. That could happen here. We know that Jupiter will move into your 7th house in July. So that would be like the formalization of a relationship and a more powerful commitment levels. You could also find that when Venus is here in your 12th house, and she does have rulership over your 4th house and your 9th house, again, you might be traveling to distant lands and shores, or you might be working at home in the midnight hour alone on some project that's really important to you. And I find that when Venus is in the 12th house, we seek out pleasure in solitude, solitudinous pleasure. She's invisible just like Mars. So you're going to be finding like there's something going on, and like starts with Mars in mid-December. Venus chimes on in on the 24th of December, and being alone becomes extremely creative or pleasurable in some way. It's really good for creating things that you want to teach, podcast, or publish, for example, because she rules your 9th house. And also all your online social media teaching and writing and communicating, Mars. So you're planning things like teaching, writing, communicating, marketing, selling. You're doing it behind the scenes. You're being creative. Yeah. And you might be also traveling. There's a lot of energy of hidden travel or secret travel or solitudinous travel for you, especially when Venus is there. So I like that the best, for you to travel December 23rd or 4th to January 17th. And if you're single, you might meet somebody because you meet them because you're traveling. All right. And that would be a way to meet someone for a single Aquarius. Don't worry if you're married, that doesn't matter. And then your partner is off to the ashram, the detox center, or whatever. Traveling somewhere, working on the projects behind the scenes, working like a little industrious beaver who builds the beaver dam. Anyone? All right, let's take a look at that one. How to handle the difficult energies of December. Hunker down alone and work on things. So you are hardworking, it says that. Loyal, tireless, and you put your family first. So that's how you should operate through December, okay? Being a hard worker, loyal, tireless, and family first. You are good-natured and dependable in December. You have love and enthusiasm for your family in December. You express it by way of your earth element. You provide a home and financial stability for people in your family in December. A beaver doesn't usually initiate a project once started although a beaver does not initiate a project like building the dam, once it's started, they work for weeks steadily, months and years to see it through. I mean, I see you guys working behind the scenes, right? Even traveling to work, like going off to a quiet place to do my work. The beaver appears when the task at hand requires long-term steady effort. It can signify it's time for some karma yoga, which is selfless service. That's important because the house of charitability, to give money to the underprivileged is the 12th house, or to support or help the underserved and underprivileged. Selfless service. When you're in balance in the month of December, you are happy and you have meaningful work. If you're out of balance, you feel useless and worn out. And the best way to balance yourself is to have physical labor, do some lifting, and selfless service. So by giving to others in a selfless, no quid pro quo for you, you're going to balance things out. Finally, we're almost done. Crazy long video, I think. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Hey, what's going on? You're going to have an invisible Mars trending through your 11th house of career profits and gains. You might be working on ways to increase your career profitability behind the scenes. On the other hand, you might have this energy where you're getting ready to make some changes in how you actually make money, but you cannot execute the changes yet because Mars will be invisible all through December 15th to January the 23rd in your 11th house. There may be some difficulties with the sibling one older, some challenges in their life or your relationship to them. Invisible Mars might be a sibling one older is going through some challenges, but not telling you about them. For example, Mars in your 7th house, 11th house can cut friends out of your life. Exit stage left, they leave, you break the friendship. That can happen. But on the other hand, the invisibility means that they just sort of ghosted you, or they just stopped talking, no more emails, just ghosting, being ghosted. Mars up here is the ruler as he moves through your 11th house of the Aries earnings sky. And so money, earnings, resources, and career gains are all very much on your mind or in some kind of desire to make change in that area of your life. And because Venus will join Mars in your 11th house of career profitability and gains, and she's the ruler of your 8th house of taxes and chunky money and, shared resource with a spouse and stuff like that, I think you're going to be really looking at ways in which you can change your financial structures for how you earn money and the money you earn and how you share it or don't share it with a spouse. Venus moving in the 11th house with Mars, right, on December the 24th to January 17th, can look like a sort of half-assed windfall. But the kind of windfall you get might come through an inheritance with money from an in-law, money from your spouse. Mars and Venus in the 11th house, should you be single, could bring a new relationship. That would happen more likely because friends introduce you or you do social events with groups of belonging and friends. And so therefore it's possible, or could be an office romance connected to colleagues. And that energy is playing out for you. If you're going to meet somebody, it's going to be invisible. No one's talking about this romance. You're keeping it under wraps for some reason, but that could bring a new romance to your life. And so that new romance is available if you want it, but you may not tell the world about it, you see. And that would be between about December the 23rd and January the 17th, when both Mars and Venus are co-present in your 11th house. And Venus is the ruler of the house of travel. So it may be a new relationship because you're traveling and you meet someone, or the relationship needs to have travel involved. The invisible part is what's intriguing to me because, invisible relationship connected to travel, or invisible relationship connected to romance, connected to office and colleagues. I can see the workspace being like, it's better not to tell everyone that you and the boss are, dating or something, but the travel one's more curious. Look to like the very end of it all, the 20th to 23rd. Look to the 17th to the 23rd, when first Venus and then Mars from your 11th, still invisible, will trine Uranus. There's some surprise, unexpected development, unexpected travel opportunity connected to love or romance, unexpected, friends. Like this is vibing with friends with benefits a bit, or unexpected, shocking surprise that a friendship turns into a love story. You know what I mean? That could show up for you as well. You thought, you had friend zoned, and no, it's going to maybe show up as an unexpected romantic getaway with a friend, travel opportunity, something like that could happen. And that includes foreign lands and distant shores, okay? Right? Both the travel houses are hit up by Venus, ruling your third, and Mars ruling the ninth house. So it could be travel to foreign countries as well. But Jupiter in the romance house, something's got to give. Jupiter's trying through till July to bring you a very positive and very expansive and very true and very maybe spiritual romance. The same thing makes your children quite fertile. So if you have kids or pregnancy and fertility is in the air for sure. We're going to draw a card for you and see what we get. Yeah. What's the message for you, Pisces, in the month of a gazelle? You're the second one to get the gazelle. I think it was early on. It could have been, goodness gracious, Tauruses, I think. So there's an animal made of fire, and this is your best ways to operate, if you like. Operational manual, animal spirit manual for the month of December. It is a difficult month. I'm not going to pretend otherwise because I do not like all those squares and oppositions. You could say that it's a month that requires and demands decisions and also puts you in tug of wars with other people's agendas. Maybe I'll start my redone video with those words. Gazelle. Here's your key words. If in December you're in your A game, you are heightened awareness and ability, and you're vulnerable. So you're hyper aware of your surroundings. You can be hyper vigilant. That can keep you from enjoying the beauty around you and the beauty that you are. Like you're always looking for the predator, But you have to get back to the present moment, sit down, find your breath, acknowledge the bounty that surrounds you, let it nourish your gentle spirit. If you're in balance in the month of December, Pisces, you are graceful, perceptive, and you can be artistic. But if you're out of balance, you are insomnia, racing mind, and you have food allergies. And to get yourself into balance, you need to do yin yoga, a cozy home, and good food. Cozy home. It looks like some of you are going to travel. All right, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I often have an outro, and I'm not sure if I have an outro today because I'm just coming back from Mexico and getting sick and clawing my way back to wellness. I don't. Not today. I don't. But stay tuned. Don't forget to get the All Signs bundle, please, before the 30th November. I know you're going to get hardly any notice. This is coming out on November 30th. I can't change that, but you can still get the All Signs bundle for only a mere $55, 12 videos to more than 24 hours of video content, PDF guidebook, downloadable audio video content, plus hidden links with timestamps for those videos, while that helps you navigate the entire year of 2023. Why the hell not? Okay. Thanks, guys. Ciao, ciao. And 2026. Oh my God. Everything about me is in the description box. Check it out below.